text, 2 emails.
Oh
Good
Lord.
afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome. Y'all almost caught a little life off the bench banter, how we joke, how we act off camera, and all of our fun. Y'all like that? I like that. I kind of like that at least, man. I kind of like that at least. A little bit of it anyway. A little bit of it. Hey, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I want to start off by congratulating my angel publicly, Courtney Anna. They played in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. I think it's the GICC, Georgia International Convention Center. I think volleyball, big volleyball event. They won the 14U Gold Division, which was the highest division in her age group. They kicked asterisks all weekend, only losing 3 sets. I mean, out of a total of what they won 10-3 on the weekend. 10 wins, 3 losses. Can't win them all, but they didn't win all the battles, but they won the war. Yes, I'm gonna brag on her till I die, till I have no more breath left in me. Haters gonna hate. That's all I have to say about that. Uh, so tonight's show, man, tonight's show is a difficult topic, not just for this panel, but for any panel that would dare to do this topic. This is what makes us different. This is what I think makes us one of the most diverse panels in podcast history because we're not really afraid to discuss hard topics. If you never start the conversation, how do you get going? And so when I think about tonight's topic for season 4, episode 2, it's entitled A System of Systemic Division. Who are laws made for? Now, when you hear that title, one would think that may infer that we are against the law when it's the very exact opposite. We are pro-law. And I can say that honestly, honorably, and confidently because I know these people on screen personally and professionally. They are law-abiding men and women. We do not believe in going outside of the law. Ever. Some of my best friends over the last 30 years are law enforcement officials. We have very personal relationships. I love them as brothers. Believe it or not, they love me in return. So this is not a show or a show topic that is against the law. But we do have some questions that need to be answered. And once we answer this Q&A, this question rather, in the first segment, it's some other areas that we need to discuss. So, I had this pulled up earlier. I was reading it while I'm pulling it up again. Hey, y'all introduce yourself. We ain't did that in a while. Anybody can start. Co-host, hey. Hey, Coy. How's you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
Excuse my little voice. I used it on today.
Okay, I'm just speaking. Hey, Chadwick.
What's going on?
Hey, Grayson Girl One, my second favorite girl on planet living here on planet Earth.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Y'all know what that means. Y'all know what that means. Boot up. Oh, y'all introduce yourself, man.
Well, I'm Chad Wilson from Louisiana. Just happy to be here.
I am April Grayson, and I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about this topic today. It's gonna be a lot, I think, but we here for the challenge. Glad you guys could join us.
Hi, I'm Anise, and I too am pondering this question, and I guess I'm too far down the road and need to be in the moment when we think about this topic and who are laws made for. Excited to be here on tonight, even though it may not sound like it. I feel like I'm going in slow motion, but I'm just taking it all in. Amen.
So tonight's info is coming from tonight's info. I'm gonna ask you a question in a minute, niece. Just give me a second. Tonight's info is coming from ACLU.org. American Civil Liberties Union is one of the oldest entities fighting for civil rights, fighting for human rights, fighting against injustice in the world for people of color. And again, I'm not a arc or a patriarch when it all started. I ain't going to do all that because that is not really important, or who started the ACLU. But if you fight for injustice, you're a humanitarian in my eyes. If you fight for the little guy, if you fight for the underdog, in my eyes, you're a hero. Because one injustice anywhere equates to injustice everywhere, because it sets a doctrine that you can screw over people at will. And it's enough of that has been going on throughout the trajectory of history. A lot of bad screwing over has happened. And so in this process, in this document that I'm viewing, it starts out at its header as written submission of the American Civil Liberties Union on racial disparities in sentencing. It further states, hearing on reports on racism in the injustice system of the United States, submitted to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights in the 153rd session, October 27, 2014. And so it goes on and gives an open remark, which I won't read. But the first highlighted note is racial disparities in sentencing in the United States. The second one is racial disparities in life without parole sentencing for nonviolent offenses. The next one is racial disparities in juvenile life without parole sentencing. racial disparities in crack and powder cocaine sentencing. They went deep. Racial discrimination in the United States capital punishment system. And I think we shall stop there because that is where you will find the meat, not M-E-E-T, M-E-A-T, the meat that has fat containing or pertaining to our topic. Racial bias continues to taint the capital punishment system in the United States, from jury selection through decisions about who faces execution. The death penalty is disproportionately imposed on the people of color. As of January 1st, 2014, 42% of defendants under sentence of death in the United States were Black, and 43% were white, although Blacks make up only 13% of the overall population. Further, numerous studies from across the country conclusively demonstrate that the murder of white results in capital prosecution in far higher percentages than the murders of people of color. The disparities based on the race of the victim are often heightened in cases with Black defendants. Man, that one extended paragraph it said a lot. It really said a lot. And I don't think that number of people of color in the African American descent has grown much more than 13% nationwide since 2014. And that was technically 9 years ago. So when we look at the fact that 42% of 13% of a cultural race of people, 42%, that is almost 7% of the 13% of Black people in the world are locked up. We're you know, and I often do this, and I'm not gonna change it up today. I do need to change that prep news though. This is not prep news right now. We're gonna start with our delightful, wonderful, beautiful co-host, Anise. Thank you for being here tonight. We are gracious and grateful to have you in our presence.
Can y'all feel that coming on thick? That plane coming in fast and hard. April saved me.
It's not that it's coming on thick. You're supposed to be able to feel genuine love. And that's all I have to give. That's all I have to give is genuine love. If Hobart Grayson III deals with you, he loves you immensely with all of his heart and soul. If I don't, real spill. That's who I am. I love everybody, but after what happened to my daughter this weekend, man, I feel some type of way about people. So y'all gotta forgive me.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I don't want
What
to talk
happened?
about that. I want to talk about the topic that we on.
Well, that topic has to do with my reply, I'm sure, because it has to talk about the perception of impoverished and underprivileged and people of color. So when people automatically see black and
We'll
brown
talk about it
skin, they
off camera. I
behave
don't want to talk about it on camera.
because it's coming out on camera.
It did spew out on camera, but I'm not discussing my daughter on camera.
Well, we're not discussing your daughter. We're talking about your reaction to what happened. So we're not talking about her.
I
We're
passed.
talking about you as a dad.
Me as a dad, I'm great, man. I had so much fun watching my daughter this weekend, man. The last 2 days. I can't wait for 2 more weeks. We're in Foley, Alabama, at the Foley Event Center. That's gonna be cool as life. Yeah.
So as I was saying, in spaces and places of underprivileged and impoverished and underserved populations, black and brown bodies are already there's a perception, and so in that perception comes along with as you shared with us, the numbers are indicative to what people are already thinking when they I guess co-occupy those spaces with us. So when they come in, whether you have committed a crime or um um have had to um that may have been the same or even less than one of a counterpart who does not look like us, you're already presumed guilty before innocent just based upon the skin you're in. And so therefore the numbers are already going to be escalated um, or elevated based on something you can't change and may not want to change and do not want to change, because I don't want to change the skin I'm in. If you have a problem with that, then that's a you problem, not a me problem. However, what happens is because I can't change that, then in a lot of spaces, I'm already presumed innocent, or not innocent, I'm sorry. I'm already presumed guilty, ignorant, less than, unworthy, not enough. And I have to pay for that or prove that I'm not. And so therefore I'm faced with making decisions, paying for attorneys, or having to suffer to with public defenders that may be overburdened or bear the burden of having to defend others that look like me and may not get great representation. So therefore those numbers are truly more than they should be, because I'm told to take a plea bargain or a plea deal, and therefore um, I end up behind bars or guilty as charged.
Chadwick?
Well, I agree with everything Anise said, and one of the things that
Really?
stands. Yeah.
Wait a minute, I gotta write this one down. I gotta write this one down. I gotta write this one down.
Everything you said. Everything.
He did
Everything.
it. He did
Yeah.
it. He did. No.
I agree with everything, because I mean, as I was thinking about everything that Hope was reading prior to us having to respond, I was thinking about those things. But also one of the things that kind of stands out, and I've read several different pieces and statistics that go with it, is that going into many of these situations where we're being sentenced, or minorities are being sentenced to, various, alleged crimes and everything, how they go into those situations with poor representation. Statistics show that if you have representation, private representation, your chances of having a less severe sentence has been documented. And I mean, and that's been something that has been shown throughout time. You know, when you have great representation, you have a better chance. But you know, and like Hope said, you know, we're not against the law. You know, you know, law brings about order, and we know order is good. But when the law is biased and is not, you know, not how it's not authored in fairness, you know, that's when we have issues, and you really need somebody to represent you that really has, you know, your best interest at heart. It's not, like you said, not overburdened or overwhelmed, and you know, can represent you in a way that depicts who you are and what your intent is. So, you know, one of the things, like I said, that stands out to me the most is it says one thing I was reading. It says uh, some people are more likely to hire a private attorney, or whites are more likely to hire a private attorney than Latinos or blacks, and therefore receive a less severe sentence. And that's huge. That's really, really huge.
Hey, we'd like to welcome our newbie. Her name is Deborah. Still go by your old name, your old middle name, or you just want me to get to the last one? Hey, please welcome to the Life Off the Bench family, Deborah Piper. She is a DBU graduate. Shout out to DBU. No, we ain't talking about LSU. Piper, have you been listening?
Yes.
You have any thoughts you want to? Oh, I skipped. Go, Piper. She gonna be fine.
You know, this is real. This is a real interesting topic.
Pause 1 second, Piper. Don't go there with LSU because I am a DBU alumni. Thank you very much.
But for those of you that don't know, DBU is Dallas Baptist University. It's a theological school for most. They go there to learn and study about God and His Word. Okay, go, Pipe.
The reason this is real interesting, well, in January recently, I talked to a young Black lawyer here in Fort Worth, and one of the things that he and I both, what he said was exactly what you all are saying. When we do get representation and they look like us, they are overwhelmed because so many people who are in the situation, bad situations, they are constantly running to them. And if they are lucky enough to get a public defender, a Black man, a Hispanic man, Black woman, Hispanic woman, that is going to help them, it really takes a toll on them because they work continuously. This young Black man that I know, he went above and beyond, and had we paid for him, it would have been upwards of 20,000. And so many of us in the Black and brown community cannot afford to pay that kind of fee for representation. So you all are right. You're right. Sad to say, but it's true. I mean, you know, we just we can't afford to pay for good representation.
Yeah, I like it. All right, we're gonna go to Grayson Girl 1.
So yeah, I'm gonna be the advocate today. And no, I don't agree with us being mistreated, misused, abused, or anything of that nature that we want to say. Let me adjust my camera. I'm sorry, y'all.
Peggy's in the way.
Peggy's in the way. Let me get Peggy. There you go, Peggy. Peggy got front row seat now. I don't know. First of all, let me say, I don't know how we fix the problem, or even if there's a right or wrong way to go about addressing the issue, but there definitely are some issues in the population as a whole, in the mixed communities, the Black and brown communities, the Ivory community, even some within the mustard communities and the other colors. That's the Asian people, the yellow people. Y'all slow folks.
I can't.
Yellow. And I'm not always politically correct, but
these Graysons.
No.
That was funny though, man. Like not in the funny way,
but also I want to point out sometimes within our own selves, we're our own worst enemies. We don't always make the situation any better. We give people fuel to pour on the fire to make it bigger. One of my biggest things with us is I want us to do better towards each other. And so that means that we have to look from the outside of the glass to the inside and not always look inside out. And we have to stop making our own selves look like, I'm trying to be politically correct, Denise, but the words
do your thing, baby.
We make our own selves look like idiots sometimes.
We do.
And yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And I still say that's no cause for other people to mistreat us or discount us, because some of the smartest people I know are African American people. I mean, that I've encountered. Like some people believe that the white race is the superior race, and that we are the minority race, but I believe that when we get us together, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. There's nothing that we can't stop. And so, people say Martin Luther King's days are over. I'm not being, I ain't marching. It's time for action now. But when the marching and the action don't work, I want to know, what do we do then? Because in these last few years, we've had a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But it's just that we make ourselves look ignorant because of how we've been made to feel, and we bought the commercial, ate the food, drank the Kool-Aid.
Sometimes.
And no one in our community, and I'm going to be honest, we've not had a big enough presence to whereas we've actually taught the legacy, passed it down on a large enough platform to whereas it has galvanized us to want to do better and know better.
Right.
And the reason why our past was as successful as it had been is because the home unit, no matter what it looked like, was strong enough to propel us to want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And they had a come see about me mentality. If a Black boy was beaten beyond measure, then it was. And this is what it is. They took him to the church took him to the pastor, even though some were in, don't get me wrong, took him to the pastor took him to the NAACP. They made a phone call. They got with the attorneys. There were commissions and boards in which there were funds that represented it. I mean, those were just some of the cases in which we knew of that were in the South. I'm a Northerner, so that's just what I knew of. That's the legacy that was passed on to me and how things were done.
And two, there's no centralized leader or
leadership. Yes, there is. He's right here saying, y'all keep skipping him. He's right here.
Co-host.
Hey everyone, I love you guys. So I want to go to this part right here. So we're at the part where a crime has been committed. They find enough tangible evidence to say, okay, I think if we take this to a trial, since this guy won't plea bargain, let's go to court. Now, I'm a firm believer in just because something has always been done a certain way, that makes it right. No, just because something has always been done a certain way, that doesn't make it right. It just means that someone found a way to create an edge for them, and it stuck.
I agree.
Why are you saying that, Hope? I'm glad you asked why I'm saying that. Because in the legal system, I never understood why the prosecutor always gets the opening statement and argument, but then always gets the closing comment. Anybody?
You said why the prosecutor gets the opening statement, but then gets the last word?
Yes. Why?
Because he has to present the evidence that's to the court of what
that's not good enough. I'm not going to let you go through with that. I'm not going to let you go through with that, because the defending attorney, the representative for the defense, doesn't he have some words that he has to say?
But why would he speak first whenever he doesn't know what they're alleging?
Why should he speak last?
He should speak.
Who is the burden of proof?
Well, hold on. We're talking about the opening statement, okay?
But who has to prove? Who has the burden? Who has to prove their case?
Well, it says the law, but we know that's not true.
If you're charged with a crime, and you're saying you didn't commit that crime, it's equally responsible for each of you to prove who's right or who's wrong. So it really doesn't matter
We're not. And again, y'all know I don't normally do this much disrupting.
You do, but
I don't. Again, this is a serious. To me, this is really serious, and it's impartial.
Where is it written?
Very serious.
Where's the criminal?
That's why we need Alfred and Alan on this show tonight.
Hold on.
I think the burden of proof falls on the prosecution, if I'm not mistaken.
It's supposed to.
But it doesn't always happen that way.
Because
explain to me, why do you feel like just because who goes first, they're getting to prove the burden of proof? Everybody gets their equal chance.
Here. Watch this right here. In this process of law, the person who gets to speak last, words are remembered longer and stronger.
No, but okay, so wait. Let me clarify what I was saying earlier. Hold up. Because you said who gets to speak first? The opening statement.
No, I said, why do they always get to open up first and then close last?
Okay, but listen, I would want, if I was being accused of something, I would want them to speak first in the opening statement, so I know what in the world I'm up against.
That's right.
Because if I speak first, I may be
up against.
But listen, but if I speak first, then I may speak of something that they don't even have.
Hobart,
and it gives them more fuel.
Hobart, they don't speak last.
Who don't?
The prosecutor doesn't speak last.
Every show I've seen, they speak last. I've never been
on a TV show.
So I've never.
Really?
And again, I've never been to real court.
Stop watching Law and Order, Criminal Minds. It's all my favorite shows.
I don't watch no Criminal Minds. I'm an SVU guy. So mind your business. What? Hey, sis.
Hobart. The prosecutor makes the opening statement first because the government has the burden of proof of proving the defendant committed the crime. But the defense attorney speaks last.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. and
Well, because maybe you watching a damn TV show.
Right.
a damn TV show. Hey,
That's what
Law and
it is.
Order is not just a damn TV show, and I won't have you doing my show like that.
We
I
talking
won't
about
ta-
people. You gonna bust out with all these
No, that's not.
facts about people's lives, and then you gonna base it on a TV show.
Yeah, I
Right.
love TV. I love Law and Order.
You know what? You just took away some of your cred points.
I did.
Minus 10. Man, because I know I was like, what?
Look, she got me
He did
sweating
not-
down here
Because
now.
it goes prosecutor defense, and in the end, prosecutor defense.
Are we
I
sure?
was
though?
like, I'm positive because you had me
Get my
thinking,
brother.
I've been in the law room.
Get my brother in here on your screen, please.
Why don't you text him? He
Okay,
hold on.
text
I
him
think
now.
I think he's handling one of his mentee calls. Cause I'm like, I was like, every courtroom I've ever been in is prosecutor defense. You don't make me second guess myself. That's why you
I've
got
been in the
that damn-
courtroom a
Yeah,
lot.
because I believe the burden of proof falls on the prosecutor.
Right.
It does. So that's why he opens.
Right.
And then but he doesn't get to close.
Right.
Right. Because
The last one they hear is the defense.
some shows he be watching, he ain't paying attention because at the end of them shows they say the prosecutor has told you da 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 da. But
Right.
You're not right. You're not right. So listen.
We are all right. The burden of proof falls on the prosecutor.
Piper,
Let's be transparent here. Brother
We
Hogan
love
made me
you.
the co-host, right? But he took my little rights away. So I can't
I
I don't
didn't.
even
What
have
rights?
the little I don't even have the little rights to mute him right now. Because if I did, y'all know what I would do, right? I'd mute his little chocolate covered self. I'd mute him right now and going on with the show. Because if we're gonna have a serious conversation, then we're gonna have a serious conversation. It just stuck. What the heck? What are you talking about? Now
he
you gonna mute himself.
I muted him.
I muted it.
Oh, so he made you power.
I didn't give anybody. Oh, Chad, you about to lose all your privileges, Doc. I didn't give him any power. He was supposed to do some stuff this weekend, and I had to give him the login info. But I'm changing that shit to. I'm sorry, y'all. I swear. I promise I ain't mean
It's
that.
family friendly.
Right. This is a family-friendly show. We do not entertain or allow profanity. I'm gonna mute myself for 5 minutes. Go, Anise.
5 minutes. Okay, good. So as we think about just even that part of it, right? So that the prosecutor has the burden of proof, we have to think about how is it they come up with the argument, right? So say the case does go to court. Where are they gathering their information from? So if you have a case that goes to court, then that means that defense attorney will have had to have spent time with the client, have had to spend time with gathering information, will have had to spend time. So that is how those numbers may be higher, because what public defender will have literally or had the ability to spend time doing that information.
And that's a whole nother animal.
And would have wanted to.
Right.
It's not that I don't think they don't want to. I
They
believe
don't have the time because they are overworked and underpaid. You know, you're a state employee, Debbie. Come on.
But see, here's what I'm saying. Hold on. Here's what I'm saying, okay? A public defender is getting paid by the courts. They're paid by the courts. If they have somebody who has let's say they committed one crime in their past, and what they're up for now is could really send them away for a long time, okay? It may be in the best interest of the court to get a conviction and not in the best interest of that person. And if it's in the best interest of the court and the court is paying that public defender is not going to work as hard.
I would
But
have
he-
to disagree
So
because
the
they
public
took an
defender is
they took
actually
an
paid by
oath.
the state. They're state employees, just like
Yeah.
me, you, everybody else. Not the court officials are state employees. These are all state employees across the board. But
But not only that, that attorney took an oath. It's ethical.
Correct. But how many times? How many times?
I had to beg to differ.
How
I-
many times have people come out and gotten second trials? How many times have people been released because of poor representation?
But I
Give
don't
me
think
that
it's
receipt
because
report.
I think it's because they do have a large caseload, because there are so many people out there, especially in our community, like you said earlier, that can't afford proper representation because legal fees are so expensive. And so now we fall at the mercy of these public defenders who may or may not be able to. I'm gonna say they give 75% because they can't give 100% to everybody because they got such a large caseload. And if you ain't got nobody that's got some cash, this and now will I say the courts may be better for the courts because they know these people are overworked and many of them underpaid? Yep, because now we just offering plea deals.
Right. Now I agree. I don't think it's because they want to or it's the best interest for. I think it's just because they know that they just don't have the capacity. You just don't have the capacity to serve in the manner that you would as if you had 5 versus 55. But it's not because they don't want to. Because ethically you swore to an oath to uphold the law in the highest way you could. You know what? We hear you off mute. We heard your hands.
My 5 minutes up. I want to apologize. I generally don't cuss a lot. I've cussed about 5 times today.
What do you should be back on mute for those birds. 5 each. But we let you go with that. That's called grace. That's called grace.
Thank you, graceful and merciful panelists of Life Off the Bench. You guys are phenomenally amazing.
Listen to him. Listen to how his voice changed. You're phenomenally amazing.
So
God.
can I get back to hosting now?
Host away.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Only
Forgive me-
April spoke up, and then he gonna say, "You're a guy."
Forgive me, audience. Again, I guess I probably should have excused myself.
Recused.
Recanted.
Recused.
Recused.
Excused.
Okay, whatever. Get on with it.
Lord bless.
No, for real though. Let's get back to it. When you think so, again, I've never been to court.
They're free. They're free. Go to court.
Hell no. I mean, no. I can't do that.
There go another cuss word.
All you're gonna do is go in there. You can go in there. You can sit in a courtroom, and you can observe.
I can't go to court. I can't visit someone in jail.
It's probably best he don't go to the courtroom. He'll be got held in contempt for his mouth. Y'all don't send my brother to the courthouse. Please don't.
I hate to see people in bondage. It really, like, that really bothers my spirit. And I like, some of my best friends from my childhood has been in Angola since our early 20s, like without ever having the possibility to come home. some of them are in Angola because of the harsh drug laws against crack cocaine that happened when crack first came out, and they didn't know what to do about. I don't know, but I know some dudes that have been locked up for 30 plus years. And I have a brother whom I love that has had his own difficulties within the legal system. And thank you, bro, for not putting us through that over the last 6-7 years that you've been living within the guidelines of the law. Thank you. It's really hard seeing you in bondage. When we look at having our friends, families, and loved ones incarcerated because of an unfair policy or procedure or just an unfair sentencing, when you think about those things, how does it make you guys feel? Cole.
You said co?
Yes.
Oh, well, my immediate reaction was guttural, in that it was emotional. The emotional part of me, in full transparency, was immediately pictured my young men, my sons, and thought about not only my sons but the other sons that are locked up. When I thought about unfair sentencing and daughters, and just how it is unfair, and all the second chances and third chances and fourth chances and the slaps on the wrist that others that do not look like us, and just because we are in the skin we in, we don't get a pass, we don't get a bye. And why is that? Why are we treated so unfairly? Because of your perception, your fear, your adage, your desire to make money off the backs of, to oppress, depress, suppress, to have us regress. And I'm at a loss.
Hmm.
I can't make sense of something that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Okay.
I just get upset, like Anise says, your first response is just emotional. Like how in the world can you get more time for crack, but you get less time for cocaine, the pure drug, the powder. I never understood that. It's like some things just, like she said, just does not make sense, and it's aggravating. I know too, and just to be like fully transparent and everything, sometimes I get aggravated too. Like, why do we put ourselves in these positions?
Right.
Like, I've had friends and or people that I knew who, for whatever reason, for some for survival type reasons, others just for the sport of it, put themselves in positions to where you leave it up to somebody else to deliver your fate. And man, it's aggravating. It's aggravating, and sometimes, and not in every situation, but in some situations, you have people there, man, that's trying to pull you in, and the influence on the outside is stronger than the influence on the inside, and it's just aggravating. It's aggravating. I don't know no other way to describe it but aggravating. And it's troubling. It hurts because those are people who deep down inside are good people. They're just making bad choices. So that's how I feel.
Grayson girl.
Bad things happening to what we consider somewhat good people. And like Anise and Chad said, people making bad choices, bad decisions. My mom used to tell us, you can go to jail if you want to, and I'm not coming to get you out. And I remember telling my kids, you can go to jail if you want to for something you ain't got to be doing. I'm not coming to get you out. And I would say in some instances, somebody been bailing them out for making them stupid choices. Maybe they should have let them sit there. Some of them are old laws, antiquated laws that need to be updated and changed. And
Correct.
the only way to get changed is if we petition to change them or petition to take them off the books. If you go read some of the laws that are on the books in your respective state, you'd be like, wait, what? This can't be right. But it is. And it was for the time period that people that they were living in. And it has no relationship to this present day and time. We always say we're one of the smartest countries in the world. We always advancing, but do we advance in every area, every aspect of the world we live in? I also used to tell my kids, if your friends go jump off the bridge, you jumping with them. Think before you act or react. This world, as sad as it may say, and I know I said I was the advocate, it ain't always been designed for people of color, for us. And so we still have to be mindful. We have to be careful of the things we do, the things we say, how we act, how we react. The last few years have not said anything to us with the George Floyds, the Trayvon Martins. I can't even name them all.
Right.
And I refuse to watch a video of them displaying us in such a manner. And when we decide that we're going to stand up and fight for what's truly right, then and only then will we make effective change.
Deborah.
I go back a few years ago and I remember asking somebody, pleading with somebody, you have been in the system. You took a drug, you had a drug case. You've been in the system. You have the opportunity to teach, lead, guide these guys in the right direction. And a lot of these guys see older guys doing stuff. Case in point, the Billy Ray Maddox kids remember him. They heard of him. One of the biggest drug dealers in Texas. Made millions of dollars. Did he get out and become an advocate? No. He got out after doing his 30 years and hid in his house. This other guy asked, will you go talk to these kids and let them know? No, they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. How do you know they're not going to listen if you don't talk to them? So I guess what I'm saying is, even though it's not right that people of color or sentenced more harsh than others, I just really feel like if those that have already walked that road would come back and just say 2 or 3 words, something, man, you don't want to do this, that, and the third, if they would just reach back and grab them, I really think that would make somewhat of a difference. And again, I know it's not going to help everybody. If you can save one by just saying, I've been there, it would make a difference.
In this process of today's legal and justice and or injustice system, we personally have not directly been a part of the process, but indirectly, someone we love, someone we adore, someone we care about may have been. In an effort, because we're deep in the soup right now. Every day you turn around, someone is dying from the hands of another, or someone is getting robbed, someone is getting kidnapped, or some other defiled, unhumanitarian act by a person that that just does not give a care about the sanctity of human life. What if you guys can put it into your own words? What message can we give to try and defer people from committing horrible acts of violence in any form, to reduce the struggle of incarceration? That makes sense? Or someone want to take that question?
I'll jump on it first. I know one of the things that I do that I think can be effective. Or I'd like to think that it's effective, is being involved in young people's life early, because when you invest in the lives of kids, they remember it. One of the titles that I have that I really am proud of is coach. And so, and not only am I investing in them, but my family, people who are dear to me, they help invest into this, into these kids as well. So when you have a situation, I always tell a story about how this my mother was at the gas station pumping gas, and one of my former players went up to her and said, "Hey, you Coach Chaz, mom. Hey, let me pump your gas." That kid could have easily, and I don't think this kid would have, but what happened? What would happen if that kid had some bad intentions and he didn't know that that was my mom? So, but because we had a relationship, that kid, instead of maybe doing something devious, he did something. He did a good deed. And so, and it feels good whenever you have a kid come up to you, "Hey, coach, I remember when you said don't do this, and coach, you was right. I didn't listen to you at the time, but I understand what you're saying now." And more often than not, the kids that I've invested time into, all are doing great things. They're reaching, and all of them road isn't the same, but they're doing great things. They're taking care of their families. They're trying to give back to the community in their own platform, in their own way, and doing positive things. So, investing in kids and doing things, investing in their interests and being present. Um, I think it's one of the ways that we could try to keep our kids from that, those bad avenues that put them in the criminal justice system. And then also, even if they get, they just happen to have a moment of indiscretion and they are, let them know that we still here for them. I have a kid, man, right now. I wonder about him all the time, and every time I see him, you know, um, you know, just letting him know, hey, man, I'm here. And he's always respectful, even if he's being disrespectful out in the community, whatever. Whenever he sees me, because I've invested in him, and he has respect for me, we always have a delightful exchange. So I think that's one of the ways that we could, try to curtail some of this is by just investing in other people.
Anyone else want to touch on that? We have about 7 more minutes.
So I say, truth be told, that's probably one of the best ways. We always say, each one reach one, each one teach one. And so when we begin to sow into the lives of other people, then we begin to teach them how to grow and bloom and blossom. And then we also teach them the Bible calls it the principle of sowing and reaping. It says that a man soweth, he shall also reap. So in our principles, we believe if you sow good, you reap good. If you reap good, you sow good, and vice versa. And then you teach somebody else that same principle, and they pass it on as well. And so when we stop looking at every situation as a bad situation, because everybody makes mistakes. If you think you got a label on you that says perfect, then please don't look in the mirror, because you just may see your imperfections. And so everybody has a past, good, bad, or different. I grew up in the church, but when I thought I was grown, I made my own way and I did what I thought was some grown folk stuff, and it may not have necessarily been the right thing. I um then was able to turn it around just by people that were placed in my lives that saw the potential good in me. And sometimes that's all the next person needs, is for somebody else to see the good in them, to help them pull that good out of them. We don't know who the next generations of Malcolm X's, Martin Luther King's, uh, Calvin Woods, all these civil rights leaders, John Lewis. We don't know who the next ones are, because we got our eyes closed on them, and we're not pulling them up.
Cole?
As I listen, I think that if we're just good people, just good human beings, and as we allow our lights to shine, that we allow other people's light to shine, and that with that, and I know it sounds like, oh, that's too simple, that's too this, that's too that, but it's the truth. If we shine our lights and we shine on other people, we shine, we be that light for someone else who may be in darkness, and then we shine on others, that our humanity, our black and brown bodies, will be able to shine the best way they can, however they can, when they can, where they can. Because in shining our lights, we spread. And that's what light does. It shines in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. So whatever that darkness is, then it'll be illuminated. So as we're talking about the legal system right now in court cases and documented, I mean, that's what it just brings to me. That's an area that's dark in our people right now and for our people. But as we bring light to it, that light brings knowledge, it brings wisdom, it brings understanding, it brings resources, it brings attention, it brings everything that's needed. But if we shut ourselves off and we dim our lights or we take away our lights, then it'll never get what it needs.
Deborah.
I always tell them, because I got real deep off into finding out about the pipeline, and I wanted to make sure, and I do this daily with different people. Whatever you do, you go to school and you act up at home. There is something called the pipeline. The pipeline is from school to prison. They choose not to teach you. They choose not to pay the teachers to teach you, but they'll pay the prison guards to keep you. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you make a lie out of all those people, the pipeline gets smaller. The teachers earn more. You get the chance to further your education. You get the chance. If you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. If you want to go to a trade school, do that. If you have a talent that is going to help you in the long run, become self-employed, to do what you can to help your community, help somebody else, do that. But whatever you do, you stay out of that pipeline. Stay out the pipeline. Nobody wants, the people that control the pipeline do not want you to succeed. People like us outside the pipeline want you to reach as high as you can. That's just, I say it, and I've got a binder that I add to it on a daily basis, because that is extremely important. They start with these babies in elementary school, and by the time they hit 5th grade, these people have already decided this one's going to prison and this one's not. They've already decided. That's the pipeline.
Man, that was absolutely deep, Deborah. Not only deep, but in essence, absolutely true. Um, when I think about the days that all the days that my sister and I spent in the foster homes, when I think about all the days that my sister and I spent in the Tanglewood subdivision, which when it was created in 1971, it was created as a middle class neighborhood that changed, went from being called a neighborhood to the hood. I've seen countless friends, acquaintances, relatives go from the very pipeline that Deborah referred to. And again, a good bit of them have either A, been in and out of that same pipeline since their early teens, or have been in a situation where they've been locked up for 20, 25, 30 plus years. And the question I'd like for everyone to ponder is, when will it stop? How long is long enough? What has to happen in your mind to get you to comprehend that you can't beat a system that wasn't designed for you to play the game? You cannot beat a system where the game wasn't designed for you to win. And in today's society, no matter of how much of a no snitch policy culture that they've tried to put the narrative out there to be, that just isn't the case. People are snitching. People are telling. And for the ones who commit horrific life crimes, kudos to the person that told. Kudos to the regular citizen that saw you commit this horrible act of violence to get your hind part off of the street. You deserve to be off of the street if you allegedly committed a crime. I don't like people who tell to get themselves out of trouble because you should have never been there in the first place. I always refer back to life lessons. Again, like I said, the time on the many podcast shows we did, I lived my life through the life lessons my mother taught me. And as my sister mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, one of the things that she told us regularly was, if you go your dumb ass street out there and get in trouble, I'm going to come see what's wrong with you and if you're okay. But your butt is stand because that's not how I raised you. She didn't raise us to steal. She didn't raise us to kill. She did ask us to defend ourselves if we needed to, but she didn't say go out there and start a fight. What are parents teaching their kids in today's society? Is it being retained like a sponge? Don't give your freedom away. Too many people have absolutely fought, dead, bled, and died for you to have every opportunity in the world to live earnestly. Don't throw your ancestors' hard work down the tube. You don't have to rob. You don't have to kill. You don't have to be an addict. Those are personal choices that you make. But your personal choices should not interfere in someone else's daily life that they may be just trying their best to struggle through because of their own personal demons that they're dealing with. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. I think this is a perfect opportunity to do this. Waiting on you, Deb. Oh, Deb, this means that the show is coming to an end. In this life, we should always, let me say this first, because I think it's a lot more that we can get out of this topic. I think it's a lot more that we can get out of this topic. We have a criminal justice major specialist that, because he's dealing with his mentees that he mentors, he wasn't able to be a part of the show tonight. And if I was a better host, again, I have several friends that are attorneys, that are criminal defense attorneys. I would have got them to see about being on the show. We also have our own Life Off the Bench in-house counsel that can't be here right now because he's running for judge. And we support Alan B. Davis, attorney at law, in his effort to win his bid as a judge in the 3 parishes that he's trying to represent. We love you, bro, and go get that win. And I'm gonna ask, can we do more, talk more about this topic?
I would like to. It's really, this is a good topic.
Like, it's so much untouched
Right.
because the topic is really in depth. Like, it's a layer, it's an onion, I guess we should say. And when you really get to peeling off the layers of the onion, I think we're gonna have a situation where, you know, when you cut an onion the wrong way, what happens?
You the only one that be crying, bro.
Really, bro? Really, bro?
I thought we keep it real here.
We all, be it off the bench sports prep news, or life off the bench, we always keep it a buck.
I love you, little bro.
I love you too, big sissy poo. But I need your vote.
I'm good.
Cole?
Yeah.
And the band played on.
I don't know what that means, but oh man, I missed this comment. My bad, y'all. All right, long-term representative Meditra J said, today's parents are not teaching their children. Children are teaching themselves or allowing others to show them the wrong things. In parentheses, it says, wait.
Says who?
Your buddy, your good buddy.
Oh, Meditra, I hear you, but I don't want us to make a broad stroke like that, because I believe there's some phenomenal parents, and I believe that the phenomenal parents are out there, and I believe that there are more than not. But I also do believe that there's peer pressure, and no one told me to jump on that question, but I have to speak up for the parents that get a bad rap, because I don't want them to be thrown over in the basket with the one rotten apple, or the 2 or the 3.
All right.
I feel you with that, though. I feel you, and usually it's the squeakiest wheel that gets the most oil.
Yes,
But
it is.
there are some phenomenal parents that's out there humping, that's in tears every night because they are exhausted from trying to do it all. And that goes for single and married. But there are some phenomenal parents out there. And then there are some that, I had you do you, boo. So there's a bit of both.
All righty. We did this. So the next thing is, be true to thine own self. Be true.
True to thine own self.
To thine own self be true.
To thine own self, be true. Be true to thine own self. It works both ways for me. Go.
We know. We always know. You write. You write. You take our stuff, copyright it, and then write it how you ever want it.
All day, every day.
You get that mute button, Chad.
Yeah, I'll fire you. Cole, can you say that thing you say right before the end of every show? Can you say it?
Be good to yourself.
The other one.
You are the light.
That
Be
one.
the light. Shine the light.
Say it a little more emphatic and passionately, please.
How you know I wasn't giving you the best that I got?
I know you. I've heard you say it in church before. I need that voice.
I might be giving you the best that I got right now. You are the light. Be the light. Shine the light.
Let your light shine. Yes, I love it. I love it. And then again, we'll be bringing a part 2 of this show.
Maybe,
back.
maybe not.
I don't know if it's gonna be next week, but we will be having a part 2. Because I need to get some more info.
Yeah, you do.
Um,
And get out the TV and get into the books.
right.
Right.
Well,
But,
on
hey,
TV, no, they don't do that on TV.
I watch a lot of
but
war.
again, to all our loyal viewers, thank you guys. You guys mean the world to us.
Love you, Meditra.
We appreciate you taking time out of your weekly life to enjoy our words because they come from our heart. So again, thank you guys, and remember, get off the bench,
Get
get
in the
into the
game.
game.
In the game.